O'Neill Outside Radio is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Whitetail Institute of North America, the gold standard for food plots. Realtree, camo hunting, fishing, and land management products. Tough Shed, great storage sheds and custom buildings. Works, power and garden tools. Fisher's Choice, the ideal solution to live bait. CVA, quality muzzleloader since 1971. QDMA, Quality Deer Management Association. Arctic Ice, the most durable, versatile, and effective cooler packs available. And Furminator, the finest food plot implement on the market.
Good morning, boys and girls, from Black Powder headquarters at Three Falls Cabin in the North Georgia Mountains. CVA presents Realtree Radio. Welcome to a brand new, unused Saturday morning. Good morning, boys and girls. Yes, this is O'Neill for 2 hours on a Saturday morning live, and we hope you'll join us this morning. We have a lot of things to talk about. Fishing's beginning to fade into the true fall temperatures. The archery deer season opened in Georgia today. A lot of states it did, and we're getting ready for deer season, so we have a lot of things to do, and we hope that you'll join us. The telephone numbers are 404-872-0750 outside in the Atlanta calling area, and outside and worldwide, 800-972-8255. You can listen at 95.5 WSB. That's also a 750 AM signal. And on the Sports Broadcast Network. That's formerly Yahoo Sports, and it's nationwide. And we have over 100 stations right now listening to our calls and our discussion about outdoors. From WEEI in the Northeast to the Big Texas Ticket to Seattle to L.A., all the way to Miami. So we hope that you'll join us for the number one outdoor sports live radio program in the country. And it's my privilege to tell you that this program is brought to you by Realtree Camo, Tough Shed, Stripling's General Store, Whitetail Institute, Arctic Ice, CVA, The Furminator, Quality Deer Management Association, Fisher's Choice Baits, Snellville Heating and Air, and a new sponsor beginning next week will be Appalachian Gun, and we have some things to talk about that. Appalachian Gun. So we have a schedule all set here this morning. The television show, let's talk about that just for a second. I have a minute. You can view O'Neill Outside. That's the television we're still on. At Fox Sports Southeast, Fox Sun, Fox Florida, Fox Phoenix, the Hunt Channel, and on and on and on. It's on everywhere. And the Pursuit Channel also on Wednesdays, Sundays, Mondays, Tuesdays. It's quite a little accomplishment there. All right, we have a whole long list of topics, and we hope you'll join us. 404-872-0750 or 800-972-8255, and we'll get to those subjects right after this. We have several things to do this morning. I failed to list them, but I know you're expecting the Medal of Honor. Later in the second hour, we'll have the Medal of Honor tribute. We'll have the mailbag pretty soon in this hour, and in the prize package also, so pay close attention. Now, I will direct you also to the website before I get away for some crass commercial messages. Visit O'NeillOutside.com. There you can buy O'Neill's book that I wrote. Believe me, it's not John Steinbeck, it's not Hemingway, it's O'Neill, and the title is descriptive of the book itself. It's O'Neill Outside, People and Places Along the Way. And it's my little description of the places and people that we've met and had relationships with and hunted and fished and places and Anyway, buy the book. And if you buy it there off the website, I'll sign it for you and personalize it for you, and we'll send it to you and get it there. Secondly, too, at the website, the bottom of the home page, you'll see the trip we're taking next June. Yes, we're flying to Seattle and taking a cruise to Alaska up the inland waterway, the Lynn Canal. I've taken that trip before a couple of times, and a lot of you have. Check that out. That is kind of a bucket list trip. That's really indeed very, very special. Secondly, then, too, or thirdly, visit the website and you can go to the mailbag, the guest book. And when you go to the guest book, if you leave a question, an observation, whatever the case might be, if we use it on the program, we use them all on the program, and then we'll send a big prize package to somebody. Not everybody, but the people who wins. All right, it's 14 after the hour, and let's see what I wanted to do here. The podcast. More commercial messages. The podcast. If you iTunes, SoundCloud, Google, whatever it is, anywhere you go, Waypoint TV, the podcast collection at Waypoint TV, and this show is on the podcast every week, as is another observation by O'Neill. Tune in, and maybe we'll learn something together. Most of the conversation is about things to do, places to go, things to recall to do, and making the best outdoor experience. And that best outdoor experience is not always catching a record bass or record fish, nor is it pulling the trigger and killing something. The outdoors has so much to offer. So we're talking about those things today. We'll get to the mailbag in a moment, but one of the things that came up this week during my visits around with sponsors and so on, and that is several people asked me. I was at Appalachian Gun. Met somebody in the parking lot at Appalachian Gun. It's a new sponsor. They'll start next week. And one of the persons asked me, she said, it was a lady, she said, she's frightened. She was about to go into the store. How do you become comfortable with your pistols, your rifles, and your automatic weapons? Well, you become comfortable by the use of those. It's not scary. They are tools to be used. And in preparation for the hunting season, or preparation that you carry a pistol in a handbag or in the truck or whatever the case might be, and I carry, Woman Williams carries, most of my friends carry, carrying a gun is a great equalizer. Believe me, without the ad nauseum story that I won't tell again, having a sidearm some years ago kept O'Neill from getting beaten up by a 25-year-old. I'm too old to be beaten up by somebody that age. Another 75-year-old, I'll fight you, but no. So carry, all right? So how do you become comfortable with that? You go to a gun range. Outside gun ranges from the Department of Natural Resources in Georgia, the state parks, the shooting ranges, and inside shooting ranges like Appalachian Gun. They have a 25-yard range and a 50-yard range. They have qualified instructors, and that's where you become comfortable with your firearm, with your sidearm, with your rifle. And of course, I'm not getting into it politically, but I heard some of the Democratic candidate debate a couple of nights ago, and what a stupid fool some of those people are. Absolutely stupid ignorant, inexperienced fools. So, enough about that. 18 after the hour. This is O'Neill. Telephone number is 404-872-0750 or 800-972-8255 outside the Atlanta calling area and nationwide. This is the number one live outdoor sports radio program in the country, and you make it that way. And you can watch us live now on Facebook. This program is live on Facebook at O'Neill Outside Facebook page. It's almost 19 after the hour. You know, we're in a transition, really. And so I'm going to talk a little bit this morning in the next couple of minutes about deer stands, okay? Tips. I think sometimes we need to be reminded of things. So, let's talk about a few things. And I will say this. I got a lot of information, fabulous, quality, well-founded, dependable information because I'm a member of the email blast that come from Realtree. They've got a quality group of writers and photographers and so on. Okay, this is about how you access your stand. Okay, if the wind's wrong, don't go to that stand. Duh. You might, if you go to that stand, your favorite place, and you know the wind is wrong, the bottom side to this, or the downside is, you may, if you spook that deer that you're hunting that you know goes to that food plot, you may spook him to another food plot or spook him to another area of a property. You may never see him again. He may set up a homestead over there. He may become acquainted with the partners and does at another place, and you have ruined your stand. Now, I said that the other day, and I put it on the internet site, and a couple of people challenged me, said, had I paid attention to you and not gone back to the stand that you said the wind was direction, I would not have killed my biggest deer. There are always exceptions. These aren't hard and fast rules. They are suggestions. And we'll get to more of those. It's 20 after the hour, along with the guest book, when we return. Oh, no, I've got a moment. Hold on. Just a moment. Second thing. All right. When you've got a food plot, you got a stand on a food plot. Or you've got a stand on an acorn grove. Or you have a stand that it's an attractive place. It's what you've chosen. Don't walk directly to it. In other words, you wouldn't want to walk right by the food plot or walk inside the food plot to get to the stand. Walk around the food plot. Walk around that area to get to the stand. And then further, and we're going to talk more about this, this is one of my pet peeves because the guy told me before and we talked about it. He says he doesn't need a flashlight to get to the stand. If you don't need a flashlight to get to the stand, you're going in too late. Or if you don't need a flashlight to leave the stand, you're leaving too early. This is O'Neill. I'll be back. Yeah, 25 after the hour, we're talking about deer stand placement and things of that nature. And then I have a very special little gift to give away. And we'll handle the website mailbag in a moment, too. Another thing about the deer... Now, see, this conversation about the deer stand and upcoming season, and matter of fact, I've got to tell you, in Georgia, the archery season began today. But this runs its course for months. The Carolinas deer season's already started. Texas, it won't be long. Alabama will be January. Keep these things in mind. It doesn't change. Okay, number one, don't ever say, well, I'll just drive my ATV to the stand, then I'll just dump my stuff out there, and then I'll go park the ATV elsewhere. Now, let's think about that for a second. Don't you think that deer that might be coming in or visiting that food plot can smell that ATV? Of course they can. Park the ATV or your truck or whatever you're in at least a quarter of a mile from the stand. At least a quarter of a mile. And if you can judge the wind direction, make sure that that doesn't drift over the food plot. Now here's something now that's a little controversial. When you go to the stand, if you cannot walk way around your food plot, in other words, the only way you can get to the stand is to walk on the edges of the food plot, that's a mistake. Walk in the middle of the food plot, because deer that might be coming in or visiting the food plot from the direction where you walked along the edge, they will smell you there and not come into the food plot. If you walk in the middle of the food plot, they won't smell you till they get to the middle of the food plot, and you may have an opportunity to harvest them. Okay, the last thing, and I do this over and over and over and over and over again. Don't get in such a big hurry. Walk slowly. Take a few steps and stop and listen. Don't hurry through the process. And we'll talk about deer stand. Oh, last thing, take a big plastic bag with you. Change clothes in the stand. Because if you stop to get breakfast or you stop to gas up the truck on the way and then you wear those same clothes into the stand, do you suppose the deer can smell the fact that you just put fuel in the truck? Of course he can. Get to the stand and change clothes, put those clothes in a bag, and then change clothes out of the bag into the ones that you're going to wear in the stand. I've done this thing over and over and over again, and they're good tips. And I didn't come up with these. I read a lot, and you should too, or maybe you should listen to a radio show. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. Now, here's a special little gift. Corey, the rest of you guys at WSB, listen closely. I'm about to give something away that's additional. And I'll show this on the website. See that right there? That's a coupon from Rocco's. It's a great restaurant, wing place. Gail and I go there once a week. It's called Rocco's. It is in Jasper, Georgia. So, if you live in Jasper or Ellijay, Georgia, or Ball Ground, or in this general vicinity, the first caller from those places, Jasper, Ellijay, Ball Ground, along Highway 15, then we'll send you a $25 gift card from Rocco's, and then you can go there and eat some wings. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. It's 29 after the hour. And now let's go to the mailbag. If you'll visit o'neilloutside.com, right there in the middle of the homepage, you'll see the guest book. And if you'll take the time to write us with a comment, a question, an observation, whatever the case might be, we're going to give a $50 bag of goodies away to somebody. I don't know who, but here are the ones that sent something in this week. Billy White from Anniston, Alabama. He says, I watch your show before I go to work so I can teach the guys something that I learn. I like to sound smart. Thanks for such a great show. I was chatting with somebody this week. I pat myself on the back, and I was calling on a sponsor in Alabama, and he remarked that what big game, he asked the question, what big game are you going for this year? I don't hunt big game. There are no lions or tigers or Cape buffaloes. There are no bighorn sheep. I don't go to Africa or Canada or places of that nature. When I hunt or fish, I usually go someplace that you can go. And so that after the show is over, whether it's the radio show or the television show, you can learn something from it. Not from me necessarily, but from my research, from my readings, from and gleaning information that so when the show is over, you can say, I didn't know that. I got to try that. Like, for instance, what we just got through talking about was about carrying your clothes in a plastic bag when you get to the stand and change. Do you do that? Maybe this upcoming season, give that a try. Fresh clothes that do not smell. They've been washed, they've been rinsed, they've been kept in a bag with pine boughs or leaves. That's what you change into after you get to the stand. And your old clothes that stink, that you put them in the plastic bag. Okay? You learned something. Billy White asked about that. Randy Brooks from Westland, Michigan. I like your show because you aren't one of those guys that makes it all about killing the biggest animal. My dad always taught me that, and I am glad to see someone on TV teach the same. O'Neill Outside is about the hunt. It's not about pulling the trigger and killing the biggest animal. For instance, let's see if somebody's calling from some of these areas. Oh yeah, well, there's a guy from Cartersville. Yeah, we'll let me talk to this guy just for a minute. It's 32 after the hour. Hold on a second. Let's talk to Kevin in Cartersville, Georgia. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, O'Neill. How are you today?
Just fine, thank you. You want to go to Rocco's?
Yeah, I like Rocco's. We enjoy it.
Well, good. Well, we're going to put you back on hold and get your address, and we'll send you a gift card from Rocco's, and the next time you go there, it'll be free.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
You bet. It's a good place to eat, isn't it?
It is. It really is. Actually, I drove by there yesterday.
Ah, there you go. All right, I'll put you back on hold, pal, to be sure you get your information, and we'll send you the coupon from Rocco's. Thank you for listening to the program.
Thank you, sir.
You bet. Thank you, Kevin. Let's put Kevin back on hold. Where was I? I don't remember. But anyway, we've got Rocco's going out there, and I bet he'll be there pretty soon. All right, here's more of the mailbag from Chad Legg in Davenport, Iowa. Ooh, is IA Iowa? Could be. I have a decoy that bucks seem to steer clear of. Am I doing something wrong? I don't know. How does that decoy smell? That'd be the only thing I know of. Tough to comment on. I've never used a buck decoy. If you have, maybe you should call O'Neill and give us some advice. I've never used a deer decoy of any kind. This is what I use for decoys. I always go where the does are, especially during the rut, because the bucks are looking for the does, and if I'm looking for the does, they're both going to the same place. So I don't use decoys. Do we have time for this? I think I do. Okay, Wyatt Connor. I'm 14. Okay, he's from Inverness, Florida. I am 14 and I love watching your show. I think you teach what to do and not to do very well. I love the cooking series. Isn't that funny? A 14-year-old who loves the Big Green Egg and Swaggerty's cooking videos. How about that? And you can see all of those on O'Neill Outside at YouTube. You can see all the cooking videos and everything. From Jimmy Harvey in Shady Dale, I've got time for this. I know you always say patience kills turkeys, but what, in your opinion, is the best type of call? A mouth or a box call? To me, because I am an amateur with a mouth call, a box call works best for me because I'm always fully clothed. I'm either in a blind or behind a whole bunch of sticks and limbs and stuff, and so I have the time, and I can use a box call and that movement that's required. But a box call is louder, so I use a box call because it sounds better. I sound like a wounded duck with a mouth call. I just can't do it. Travis, that rascal, he can mouth call without a call. He sounds just like one, but I'll tell you, the worst sounding hen clucking and yelping that I ever heard came from a turkey. So it's not the quality of the call. What you have to do is have the patience. It's the rhythm of the call. And I learned that from a fellow by the name of Roscoe Reams, best hunter I ever knew. All right, we've got Wade and everyone calling, and we'll be back right after this, I promise. They live a bit rural also, like we do, and she was asking me questions about deer and bear and all that kind of stuff. And I respond as well as I can, but you can learn all those things about urban wildlife from the Georgia Department of Natural Resources, their website. Because she told me yesterday I had some beautiful flowers on the porch, but the deer ate them all. Well, those are neighborhood deer, and the DNR has a lot of things that can help with that. Let's see, where am I? That's enough of that. Oh, about what we've been talking about this morning, about the deer stand and walking through the woods and using all that sort of thing. Those are the things that we can talk about on the podcast, that I do talk about on the podcast. So if you're in the truck and riding, you can go to SoundCloud, iTunes, Waypoint TV, all those places, and you can't talk back, but you can sure listen to O'Neill on the podcast. Right now, let's talk. Let's go to. Can we go to this? Can we go to Milton Crabapple? Good morning, Milton.
O'Neill.
Hey.
Milton Crabapple.
Yes, sir. Good to hear your voice, sir.
Well, it's good to be heard. Yes, sir.
Yes, indeed. I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You and I were hunting one time, and you told me, and I want to get it right, and I will get to the subject of your call in a moment, but we were together, and it was, I recall it was dry. It hadn't rained in a while. Like now, everything's dry. And you told me something about hanging a snake over a fence, and it would make it rain. Do you remember that?
Was that you?
Yes, it was.
Well, you know, I've heard that all my life, but the fact is, O'Neill, in my later years now, you got to kill a snake to be able to hang it over a fence.
Yeah, that's right. I don't kill them.
I don't much like to kill them anymore. You know, I just come along to the point where I realize how important they are in the ecosystem and in nature, and they don't pose no threat to you at all if you leave them alone. So might want to go get you a half pound of ground round and hang it over the fence.
Okay, good. All right, yeah, I don't kill snakes either, and I don't encourage anyone to do so. I had a couple of guys come here to do some repair work. Two great big fellas. They were going to do some air conditioning work. This was some time ago. And when they pulled up, I had a copperhead, and I had a broom, and I was kind of urging them to go on out into the woods. And these two guys wouldn't even get out of their truck.
You'll learn liberals.
Well, could be. But I just kind of ushered him out into the woods. I mean, he wasn't going to hurt anybody.
No, he wasn't going to hurt nobody. Now, I'll tell you something else now, a tip about them, what you can do with a dead snake.
Okay.
Now, a fella taught me this years and years ago, and I'm telling you, O'Neill, it works.
Okay.
Of course, you don't have to use snake either. But you find a trout stream where you got to make sure this is legal. Of course, I ain't never read nothing to say that it ain't. But you find you a good hole in a trout stream, and you hang a dead snake over a tree limb out over the water, and you wait about 6 or 8 days and go back, and that thing will be full of maggots, and them maggots will be falling off into that water. And every trout in that stream will be right in there under them, tearing them things up. You can sit right there and catch a whole bucket full of trout.
That's outstanding idea.
Yes, sir, and that works too.
No, I'll bet it does.
I got a little story I want to pass along to you.
Okay, I'm listening.
Because of something you talked about earlier when you was talking about folks carrying firearms.
Yes.
And, I've always carried one for a long time. Now, one day I was up above Alpharetta. It was during the day, and I was riding along through a kind of a rural area, not in town, but just a little ways out of town on a little stretch of road where there weren't many houses. And up ahead of me, O'Neill, I saw something out in the road. I got up there, and it was a great big old raccoon.
Uh-huh.
Now, I got to watching this raccoon. He was foaming at the mouth. He was biting at himself. He got off in the ditch and rolled around, come back out on the road. I said, that raccoon's got rabies.
Yes.
Well, I know a little bit about rabies. Well, I pulled up there next to him to look at him, and he come over there and attacked the front tire of my truck. Now, he come over there and was biting at the truck tire. You could tell what was wrong with him. He was snarling and squalling. Well, I just pulled my pistol out and rolled the window down and shot the raccoon, put him out of his misery.
Right.
And I said, well, I'll drag him out of the road here so somebody don't come along and want to cut his tail off or something and mess with him. And I knew he was sick, so I got out and got a rag, got him by the tail, threw him over in the bushes, got back in the truck. And as soon as I got back in the truck, a school bus pulled up right next to my truck.
Oh.
And 4 kids got off of that school bus.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I hadn't have come along and shot that raccoon, them kids would have been dumped out on the road right there where that thing was.
And it would have attacked those children.
Oh, there ain't no doubt about it. It would attack them because it attacked my truck. So sometimes having a firearm don't necessarily mean defending yourself from somebody else. But you're liable to see somebody get attacked by a geldern, bulldog, or something. You never know what's going to happen when you need a firearm.
And that's a good story. Yes, indeed. Very well presented. Yes, indeed.
Sure is. That? And before I go, I got one little tip for you, too, about deer hunting.
Okay.
Now, you was talking about using deer scents and decoys and all this kind of stuff. Lots of folks get them deer scents and they use them the wrong way, and they spook every deer around.
Mm-hmm.
You got to know how a deer thinks. Anything that seems unusual to a deer or that ain't normal, he knows.
Yes, he does.
And some people just walk down there and they get about 40 feet from the stand. They put out a bunch of doe scent or buck scent or whatever. Well, a deer comes along. He knows that thing didn't just appear out of thin air. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
If he's been following that little trail you laid and comes across it and follows it, well, that's what a deer would have done. Walked and kept meandering around, and the deer will follow that. But all of a sudden, he walks along and finds a big old wad of deer scent there. Well, where did it come from? There wasn't no tracks leading into it.
Mm-hmm.
Where did it come from?
That's
a lot of folks just overdo it with that stuff, and they don't know how to use it correctly.
That's a good idea.
Yes, sir.
Well, tell everybody what do you still hunt with, Milton?
Well, I've hunted for years and years with a full stock curly maple 50 caliber Tennessee mountain rifle.
I remember
That's what I hunt with. Patch, a round ball patch with pillow ticking.
Mm-hmm.
Black powder, yes, sir. But my eyes have got to where now, O'Neill, I can't kill one if he ain't within 10 feet of me.
Oh, I understand. Yeah, you got to make a good shot.
My eyes ain't what they used to be, but now I used to. If I could get him within 100 yards of me and get him broadside, I could put one right through him, yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. How about that?
I'm a little more cautious now.
I understand. I feel the same.
And you know what? When I come home and I ain't got a deer with me, it means I can go in and take a nap.
And you get to go again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Stop by the jail if you get a chance, O'Neill. I got to get out from here.
Good idea. Thanks for calling, Milton.
Much obliged.
It's always a pleasure. There we go. And let's see. We've got 49, and we've got time. Let's talk to Wade. Wade is calling from Bowling Green, Kentucky. Good morning, Wade. You're on O'Neill Outside. Welcome.
Good morning, O'Neill.
Hey there.
Go Dogs.
Yeah, yes, indeed.
I know what happened to that man. That man said he put a decoy out there.
Right, okay, good. Talk about that.
I think I caught that deer in my refrigerator eating my tater salad the other day. If that deer got in that tater salad, there won't be a deer within 100 yards there.
Oh, I see.
I'm going to give a heads up on that. I talked to my buddy Bradley yesterday down there. He's in Buford.
Uh-huh.
And I seen something on Facebook about a copperhead in the grocery store.
Oh.
What I understand is it's dry there as it is here, ain't it? Y'all ain't had no rain in a while either, have you?
No. Dry as a
No, all
bone.
right. Well, Buddy Bradley said that 2 neighborhood dogs and one of the neighbors been bitten in the last week.
Oh.
By copperhead. So all you fellas getting out there in the woods this morning, you might want to look down every couple steps.
You bet. Now that's that's not a very big snake, but he sure can make you feel bad.
The only time I had experience with it, my buddy Bobby was bow hunting, and he went out to get him a couple of musky knives on the way in, and he reached down and picked some up off the ground and got bit in the hand, and 4 days later when he got out of the hospital, he couldn't remember nothing.
Yeah, how about that? It doesn't take much. I mean, that's some powerful stuff, but you should be sure to make absolutely sure that that's what it is before you kill it.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Now, don't kill no indigos or no rat snakes or corn snakes.
That's right. Yeah, red rats and all that. Yeah, snakes are good. We've got some brown water snakes up here at the cabin. We've got some black snakes. Boy, that thing must be 6 feet long now. I mean, he's a whopper, and he helps out quite a bit. I don't think we have any copperheads. I hadn't seen one now in about 2 years.
Yeah, they're apparently it's I guess it's a dry weather that pushes them out.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to have a little moisture some way or another.
Correct. Absolutely.
I think it's opening day of wage season up here in Kentucky.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, I had to let the puppies out to go to the bathroom a minute ago, and I talked to Walter Reeves back in the spring. He told me what to do with my apple tree because they've been putting out. I cut that thing back. I got more apples. I know what to do with them.
Oh, good.
And
that's
I've been putting them in with a little cinnamon and brown sugar and scalloping them up and canning them so I can put them on my waffles in the wintertime.
You betcha. Or here's
But
a little,
a possum has found my apple tree.
Okay.
He gets out there and gets under the gazebo about 15 minutes ago. I was hoping I just had call. He was talking to Milton.
Uh-huh.
And let the puppies go out and do their business, and they got him cornered up under the gazebo.
Oh.
I want you to hear them beagles, boy. They was singing a song.
Oh, they were, huh?
Oh!
Yeah,
the neighbors gonna come out and start shooting at Wade.
Yeah, they were talking the talk, huh?
Oh, it's funny. I got Bandit, and then I got Rocky, he'll be a year old December 5th.
Yep.
And he will tear up anything you give him a chance to. Don't set nothing down. No paper. You bring the mail in, you better put it where he can't get to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they look at you funny, you'll pay the power bill, and it's chewed in half. They don't like that. The dog ate my homework story.
Yeah, that's right. That's not a bad story. It'll work.
But yeah, y'all fellas be careful down there. Don't get no snake bites.
No. We're in good shape. Glad you called, Wade. It's always entertaining, and I appreciate finding out what you're doing here and there. And we got deer season coming up, so we'll be talking a lot.
Where's Jason at? He in the woods?
He must be.
Yeah, the other guy answered this morning. I always heard Jason. He heard, what's up, Wade? It's Josh. Oh, sorry, Josh.
Yes, it's all right. Well,
I like being recognized. I like it. He knows who I am. He knows when I call who it is.
You betcha. All right, my good friend. You have a great weekend here.
All right, then put me on hold. I'm doing something on the computer, too. I ain't got you on the podcast this morning.
Okay.
I'm going to have to get with the radio station up here and get you on up here.
I know, we should. 57 after the hour, and this first hour went by quickly, didn't it? Well, O'Neill gets started. I can't stop talking, so that's what happens. Where was I? Let's see now. Just a minute. I had something I had missed here. How to become comfortable with your pistols and rifles. Oh, on being an outdoor woman. A couple of weeks ago, Donna called encouraging women to be involved in the outdoors. And I have a couple of friends that are very, very interested in that and have become an outdoors woman. And I'm sure wherever you live, whatever state you live in, there you are, finishing a sentence with a preposition, the DNR, the Department of Natural Resources, has programs to encourage and teach women about the outdoors. It's fascinating, and it's not gender relevant. That's another thing for women to be involved in that's extremely rewarding and rewarding for a lifetime. I mean, I'm not suggesting you'll meet somebody at the gun range, but you never can tell. But I see a lot of women at the gun ranges now. Absolutely. At Appalachian Gun, that 25-yard range, easily operated. They have quality instructors. And when I was there the other day, 2 women came in for the 25-yard gun range with their pistols. And quite frankly, let's see, I'm all right time-wise. Think about this. If you're female, Gail has a handbag with a special slot in the handbag that she can keep her pistol in that slot, that separate little patch, if you will, that little folder in the handbag. And, oops, I'm out of time. You don't have to get the pistol out. You can shoot through the handbag. This is O'Neill. We'll be back. I'm behind. Good morning, boys and girls, from Black Powder headquarters at Three Falls Cabin in the North Georgia Mountains. CVA presents Real Tree Radio. Welcome to a brand new, unused Saturday morning. Welcome, everyone. This is O'Neill. It's 6 minutes after the hour. Welcome to the program. We've got in the second hour of Outdoors headed your way. You're listening to the #1 live outdoor-based radio talk show in the world, and we invite your participation. 404-872-0750 or 800-972-8255. You can listen at WSB 95.5 FM, 750 AM across the country into 38 states, and the SB, the Sports Broadcast Nation, with WEEI in the Northeast, the big ticket in Texas, and on and on and on across the country. It's 7 after the hour, and we have a lot of calls. We're going to get to every single one of them, I'm sure. But before I do that, we have some very crass self-promotion. Number one, visit O'NeillOutside.com. You can purchase my book there. O'Neill Outside, People and Places Along the Way. Remembrances of the trips and the people. And if you purchase it on the internet right there, I will sign and personalize it for you. Secondly, too, at the bottom of the homepage at O'Neill Outside, next summer, you and I, we're going to go to Alaska. We have 5 cabins left with outdoor balconies. Make your reservations now. You can cancel later. Bottom of the homepage, it's a trip to Alaska out of Seattle and the Lynn Canal. It's the best cruise I've ever taken. Gail and I have done that on 2 different occasions. Let's see, what else? All right, we're talking about fall fishing. We're talking about the deer season. And I'm encouraging you, when you have an opportunity, to watch O'Neill Outside, Fox Sports Southeast, Fox Sun, Fox Arizona, the Pursuit Channel, and VOD, or Video On Demand networks, just absolutely dozens of them. You know, Prime, all of it. You can see it there. Watch if you can. We have calls here. We're going to get to every single one of them. This is O'Neill. And regrettably for some of you, I'll be back. 12 after the hour. Welcome back to the program, everyone. We've got a lot of calls. People are kind enough to hold on quite a while. Let's first talk to Jim He's calling from a little town called Monroe, Georgia. Good morning, Jim. What do you say?
Good morning, Professor O'Neill. Hadn't talked to you in a while. Sure is good to hear from you.
Yeah, I always tell it's you when you start the call with Professor O'Neill. Huh?
Well, you are. You have helped take me to a higher level of college on deer hunting and other hunting and things, especially the way that you've been talking about the planning and all of seed and how to have your preparation. Of course, there's one thing that a lot of guys haven't listened to, and you've been very good this year about cautioning planting too early because of no rain.
Yes.
And I certainly appreciate that. I have held off and probably will not plant till maybe next weekend or the following weekend.
Okay.
We were very fortunate to have a whale of a storm come through last night, and I guess we
did you?
We had a heck of a storm, and it was great. I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm very thankful for the water. You know, early spring, everybody was griping about how much it rained. And I told them, I said, you just wait till they turn the faucet off. You'll be hollering for it.
That's right. No kidding.
But, you know, you have helped bring some things to mind that I've heard all my life, but you put an emphasis on it.
Thank you.
I really and truly appreciate another aspect that you've taught me in the several years back, is how you listen intently. And, of course, when it got real windy one day and you told me to get up off the couch and get my potatoes moving toward the deal, and I have been very luckily to take game and good game in real windy weather. I mean, you know, and I appreciate that. I just think that you and Lady Williams do a heck of a job. And I just can't say how much I appreciate what you do for us, because you really help bring things back to us.
Well, you're very, very kind. You know, I guess it boils down to the following. The more I knew, the more I understood, the more I understand, the more I study about this, the better I enjoy it.
I think you're absolutely correct. And, of course, I'm not too far behind you. I would say, and something I appreciate that you do encourage people, but if you haven't shot your rifle in a while, for heaven's sakes, go make sure it's sighted in, because as we all age, I don't care if you're 20 and you go to 25, or in my age, 70 plus, if you don't check that thing, your eyes change and your impact's going to change. So please do that.
Well, you change the way you hold the rifle.
That's correct. A lot of people don't realize it, and, of course, I've got to where I put bubbles on my rifle now to make sure I'm not canting it also, which changes the impact.
Yes. Very well done. Well, if you're a deer hunter, you owe it to the game that you kill it then one shot.
That's absolutely correct. The past 10 years, I have focused in on coming behind the front shoulder about 2 inches and going up about 2.5 inches, where I'm between the spine and the top of the shoulder. And usually that right there takes the lung and part of the heart out, and down it goes. So you don't have a bad shot.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Jim, I am a very poor tracker. So I don't care about trying to track a deer. I hate that.
It's I guess at our ages, it's not as enjoyable as it used to be. But at least if it does happen, and you've got some younger ones in the club, which we have several guys that have their sons, and a lot of times I'll get them to go with us if somebody has shot one and we're having to track it, to help teach them and what to look for. And how, you know, sometimes you lose a blood trail, and the only thing you've got is the pine straw of the leaves that's been scuffed up as they're trying to get away.
In my next book, and I'll get to another. Oh, I got lots of calls, and I'll get to them in a minute. In my next book, I devote a complete chapter on what to do after you pull the trigger.
Yes, sir.
There's a whole chapter about that, about what to do, about with your cell phone. How big a hurry do you get into? Do you do it slowly? Do you do it quickly? Do you take photos from the stand? Do you read? It goes on and on. That next book will be out here in a couple of months.
Well, I'll tell you what, that is very important. There's a couple of applications you can use to where you were and go up to where you last sighted it and start plotting exactly like what you're talking about. And as you go, you can do that. Now, in the past, before we had these kind of apps, I would take toilet tissue, and then when I'd find the spot where I found blood, I would put it down and go that way. So I had a trail to look to see where they've been coming from in the event I lost, so I could get back in the area.
Excellent idea.
Excellent. Again. So
excellent.
But I can't thank you and Lady Williams enough for living in a fishbowl for us out here, and also doing what you do for us and educating and also helping with the different aspects that you do. I just want to say thank you very much, Professor.
You're quite welcome. Jim, thanks for the compliments, and I'm glad you called.
See you, young man.
You bet. There you are. Let's we've got time for this. Let's talk to Alan, and he's calling from Tallahassee, Florida. Good morning, Alan.
Good morning, O'Neill. How you doing?
Outstanding.
I know y'all talking about hunting this morning.
That's okay.
The only thing bad about it down here in Florida, the only thing you're going to hunt for down here is either a sunburn or heat stroke.
That's right.
It's hot as bacon in a frying pan down here right now.
Oh, boy.
But the reason I was calling, been traveling a little bit this summer, went up to see my cousin there in Sweetwater, Tennessee. He took me fishing down below the dam there at Chilhowie.
Yeah.
And O'Neill, we caught a little bit of everything. But then I caught a fish and reeled it in, got it in the boat, and got to looking. I said, what the heck have I caught here? And my cousin turned around. He said, you caught a mean-mouth bass. I told him, hey, buddy, you got to quit smoking that stuff. I don't know what you're talking about. And I says, so I looked it up on my phone. And so, sure enough, he knew exactly what he was talking about. You know, it's a hybrid between it had the head of a smallmouth and the body of a largemouth.
Yeah, that can happen.
And but then it wasn't shortly he caught one. It had the head of a smallmouth and the body of a spot. And I said, well, dang, I said, these bass up here are just sleeping with anybody.
Oh, it's a risky place to be.
Hey, but O'Neill, it's like that time you went to Lake Wilson, fished below the dam. I mean, we caught every species of freshwater fish that's in the river.
I'm going to go back there this fall.
Well, O'Neill, I know it ain't that far from your house.
You can get a bite. When you can get a bite or a strike or lose one or catch one on every single cast.
Well, that's the way it was when we went there below the dam there at Chilhowie. I know coming this spring, I hope you get a chance someday here in the future to go fish Lake Chilhowie, either below the dam or in the lake itself. That lake has really come back. I mean, the fishing up there is just awesome. And it ain't that far from your house.
Glad to hear it.
What is it up there probably to Chattanooga from your house? 40 miles?
Not far, right.
So probably another 20 miles on up to the dam. It's about 60, 70 miles from your house, you know. But that lake has really come back.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
That helps everybody. I didn't know, you know, many people would know what a mean-mouth bass is. It's spelled M-E-A-E-S.
I have caught, and I got to go, but I have caught, and I'm sure you have too, I've caught some crossbreeds, largemouth and spots.
Yeah, but that was the first one I'd caught that, you know, it's like you didn't know what it was until, you know, actually he told me what it was. Because, the head it looks just like a smallmouth, and the body was marked just like a largemouth.
No, but
so, I mean, it was a beautiful fish. Don't get me wrong, it fought like, you know, something else. But then when he caught that one with the body of a spot, now that was a gorgeous fish. Now,
Alan, I got to go, pal. Hey, call more often. I always enjoy your calls. This is O'Neill, and we'll be back, I promise. Welcome back. A couple of things before I get to the callers, and I will, is that you can watch this program live on O'Neill Outside at the Facebook page, and the show is edited and in the podcast every week at SoundCloud, iTunes, Waypoint TV, and on, as is my own personal podcast. I would encourage you to check it out. Right now, let's talk to Mac. He's calling about Lake Lanier and always providing something that we hadn't heard about before. Good morning, Mac.
Good morning, O'Neill.
Fishing today, sir?
I am on my way right now.
Good for you.
Yeah, go see if we can catch us a few, and it's been good. We've had a really good week.
Oh boy.
Hot, but other than that, the fishing was good. We broke
okay,
a lot
what do
of
you
records
all right, let's learn something. What do you attribute this week's good fishing to, please?
Well, we're fishing now like we would in August, and I think it's weather. The weather, this warmer weather, as uncomfortable as it is some days, just kept the water temperatures up. It's kind of extended our summer fishing. Mm-hmm. So really we're fishing like we would in August. Starting to see some subtle changes like we talked about last week, where the days are getting shorter. Our water temperature when I came off yesterday was 86, which is like you get the very last week of August.
Right,
but,
okay.
But if you're going fishing today, don't let that fool you. Summer patterns, live baits on the downline, trolling's off the chain. Matter of fact, I think we just put the printed report on your site just a few minutes ago, so people can go check that out. But
good idea.
And we're hearing that all across the Southeast. Fishing's pretty good. Striper fishing particularly. Bass fishing's good, I think, relative to the calendar. This has never been one of my favorite months because you get a lot of fish suspended that are hard to target if you're bass fishing.
Correct.
And that's a really, really hard fish to catch. But if you just want to catch fish and have fun, lots of smaller to average size fish in the brush piles, drop shot, plastic worm. Get you lots of bites, have lots of fun.
You bet.
So,
well,
good day
this time, one of the things I suggest is, and I'll get to the next caller, but you don't always have to be a bass fisherman.
Absolutely not. Fishing is about fish.
Yeah, I mean, go to some docks or bridges and catch crappie.
Striper fishing actually is really easy and it's good this time of year. And I see a lot of the bass guys and some of the crappie guys, they concentrate on stripers this time of year until it cools off and they get fish, their fish, so to speak, concentrated where they can get the better numbers. So, take what the lake gives you. That's always been my approach.
You bet. And when the water starts to cool down just a little bit in the streams, go trout fishing instead.
Absolutely. We get lots of options. It's all good. There's always something. That's what's great about the state of Georgia, though. There's always some type of opportunity, fishing-wise. People don't realize, I don't think, how much diversification we have in Georgia. But there's always something to catch. All kind of different stuff.
Now that you mention it, in October every year, I go to the Georgia coast, and I fish with Mark Noble in the full moon around in October. I have the smallest redfish I ever caught with him was 25 pounds.
And I have done that, O'Neill, and that is an incredibly underutilized fishery down there.
You bet.
Not just the bull red thing. Trout fishing on our coast is extremely good.
Yeah,
Lots
you don't have to go to Florida.
No, and it's close by. It's a beautiful place. The Golden Isles, that's just fabulous down there. So that's something everybody needs to look into. A lot of people right here ignore it, going a long way to get to where the grass is greener. It might be greener in your backyard. Check it out.
That's a fact. All right, my good friend, have a good day here.
Do the same. Everybody have a good week. Get out there, catch them up, be safe.
You bet. See you later, pal.
Thanks.
There you go. Now let's talk to, before we get to anything else, let's talk to Mark. He's calling from Camden County. Good, Mark. We always learn something from you. What's going on, sir? I didn't push the right button. I'm sorry, Mark. All right, how about Mark now from Camden County? Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, O'Neill.
What's going on with you? Where are you headed?
Oh, it's opening day of boat season. I'm heading to the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were talking about tree stands a little earlier and deer hunting in general.
Yes.
A lot of times, I mean, I've got 5 decades worth of deer hunting experience now, and one thing I always tell folks, especially the ones that are from the more urban areas, is learn how to look, learn how to listen, learn how to smell. Again, most folks have so much background noise in their daily lives and whatnot that basically forgotten how to do those three things.
You bet. That's a good point, Mark. Yeah, and one of the things that you can do to help that is to slow yourself down.
Which is exactly what I was fixing to say. Don't walk through the woods like a bull in a china shop.
Yep.
Take your time.
What people have to do is, I mean, I'm listening to your recommendation, and what people will have to do is they'll have to try that, and try it 2 times, and try it 3 times, and try it 4 times before they realize the productivity of doing that.
Right, and you have to mentally, intentionally train yourself to do that. If you don't, you'll keep your modern human senses about yourself, and you'll miss a lot of stuff.
Absolutely.
Yep. When you go through the woods, take your time. You don't want to be a loud, intrusive presence coming and going to your tree stand.
Well, I can tell you, when I take 3 steps and stop.
Yep.
And I take 3 steps and stop. You'll be amazed at the things that you will see and hear.
You hunt in the morning, set yourself a goal to be able to get to your stand at least 30 minutes before you need to be there. In other words, if the sky turns pink at 6:15, make sure you're in your stand at 5:45, already settled down and waiting and listening in the dark.
You bet. That's why I always say you always have to have a flashlight, because people say, well, I can get to my stand without a flashlight. Oh, really?
Well, you know, I'll almost differ with you a little bit on that. I've been doing it for so many years. I keep a small green light in my pocket, but generally only use it when I have to.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm different. I mean, I'm solo. I always hunt alone. I go to a great deal of trouble to make sure I have solitude. I'm not a social hunter, in other words.
I understand.
But secure your gear when you're walking. Don't sound like a bag of glass or something rattling through the woods. You know, be quiet.
That's
Allow
right.
yourself time to be able to get in and out of your stand without making a whole pile of noise.
Usually the best bass fishermen, the best outdoorsman, the best hunter are for good reasons, is how he hunts and how he fishes.
That's exactly. And, you know, I always tell folks, you know, to tune yourself in. Once you get into the woods, you're in a completely different environment than what you're used to living in every day. And,
you bet.
But figured that'd be a nice little word of advice.
You bet. So I always enjoy your call. I look for your name on the screen, Mark. Have a great day, pal, and call me back next week.
Yes, sir, I will.
You bet. There you are. All right, quickly, let's get to the radio prize package. The rules are you have to be 18 years old and not ever have won a prize package before. Here is the prize package. A Bojangles $10 gift card, a Swaggerty's Farm free voucher for sausage at the local grocery store, Whitetail Institute DVD about planting food plots, the Angler magazine, 2 cans of Fisher's Choice baits, a Thunder Chicken casting float from Captain Mark Noble, a Thorogood Boots hat, an Arctic Ice freezer pack, you'll be happy you got that, and a selection of True Turn tackle. That's the prize package. And here's the question, the first caller with the correct answer. What is my wife Gail's maiden last name? It's 34 after the hour. What is my wife Gail? What is her maiden last name? And see, I've got a second here to tell you, our questions are not to direct attention from us, to us. Either me or Gail or the show or whatever. Our questions are directed to people who listen to the show. It's not about the last man to hit over 400. Well, with Ted Williams, that was easy. But it's about this program and the listeners. If you're in the truck going to the woods, you don't need a computer to know the answer to that. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255, from Maine to Seattle to L.A. to Florida and everything in between on the SB Nation radio network and 95.5 WSB and the 750 AM signal. And give us a call and win the prize package. I bet somebody's already in there with that. We'll check and see. It shouldn't be too hard. Yeah, somebody's already in there, I'll bet, but we'll see. You keep trying in case they have the wrong answer. It's 35 after the hour, and we've been talking about deer hunting a lot this morning and not so much about fishing. You know, here's some statistics that you might be interested in. I love statistics. 60 million men and women over 16 years old in the United States, if you ask them, are you a fisherman, they will reply yes. 60 million. And worldwide, the number one sporting activity among men in the world is fishing. Interesting, isn't it? Well, there you are. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. Every Saturday morning, 2 hours of outdoors from O'Neill Outside. A lot of crass commercials in there, but that's okay. We're buddies, aren't we? We should be. I'll be back.
Honor, courage, and strength of character. These qualities are embodied by the recipients of the Medal of Honor. Now let's recognize this week's Medal of Honor recipient on O'Neill Outside.
Private First Class Jose Valdez, U.S. Army, France, 1945. He was on outpost duty with 5 others when the enemy counterattacked with overwhelming strength. From his position near some woods 500 yards behind the American lines, he observed a hostile tank about 75 yards away and raked it with automatic fire until it withdrew. Soon afterwards, he saw 3 Germans approaching through the woods. Scorning cover as the enemy soldiers opened up with heavy automatic weapons fire from a range of only 30 yards, he engaged in a firefight with the attackers, and he killed all 3. The enemy quickly launched an attack with 2 full companies of infantrymen, blasting the patrol with murderous concentrations of automatic and rifle fire and beginning an encircling movement which forced the patrol leader to order a withdrawal. Despite the terrible odds, PFC Valdez immediately volunteered to cover the maneuver, and as the patrol one by one plunged through a hail of bullets toward the American lines, he fired burst after burst into the swarming enemy. 3 of his companions were wounded in their dash for safety, and he was struck by a bullet that entered his stomach and passed all the way through his body, exiting his back. Overwhelming, agonizing pain, he regained control of himself and resumed his firing position, delivering a protective screen of bullets until all others on the patrol were safe. By field telephone, he then called for artillery and mortar fire on the Germans and corrected the range until he had shells falling within 50 yards of his position. For 15 minutes, he refused to be dislodged by more than 200 Germans. Then, seeing that the barrage had broken the counterattack, he dragged himself back to his own lines. He died later as a result of his wounds. Through his valiant, intrepid stand and at the cost of his own life, PFC Valdez made it possible for his comrades to escape and was directly responsible for repulsing an attack by a vastly superior enemy force. Private First Class Jose Valdez died in battle, 1945. It's 43 after the hour. This is O'Neill Outside, and we've got the prize package winner online, and that is, let's tune in now to Alan is calling, and Alan is calling from Stockbridge, Georgia. Good morning, Alan.
Good morning, Mr. O'Neill. How are you, sir?
Just fine, thank you, and thank you for participating in the program. And what is Gail's last maiden name?
That would be Williams.
So her name is Gail Williams Williams.
That's true.
Well, she's bad to repeat herself anyway. Well, you won a nice prize package. I presume we have your information. Give us a couple of weeks. Yeah, we'll give us a couple of weeks, and we'll send it all over there to you.
All right, sir. I appreciate you, and I enjoy your show. You're a great man. I appreciate you, sir.
You're very, very kind and very complimentary, and I accept your congratulatory remarks with great humility. Have a great weekend, my friend.
Thank you, sir. You as well.
You bet, and I'll see you soon. Okay, it's 44 after the hour it is right now on O'Neill Outside. Let's talk now to Richard. He's been holding on for quite a while, and Richard is calling from West Virginia. Good morning, Richard. I always enjoy your call, sir.
Yeah, that's what you say. That's why I'm glad to call, because I think you're probably the only one that really says that.
Oh, no, I love to see, when you can't see here, but the bottom of the screen is where an 800 call comes in. So I always look for Richard down there at the bottom of the screen from West Virginia. Good morning.
Okay. As far as Williams, I listen every week. That's sort of like a tricky question, Gail Williams.
Yes.
I never thought of that because I knew Williams was her last name because I know that's your last name.
That's right.
But I didn't know that was hers.
When we were in high school together, our photos in the annual were side by side.
All righty.
Gail Williams and O'Neill Williams, side by side. We've been side by side ever since. It's been 54 years.
54 years of wedded bliss.
Yes, indeed. Very
fortunate. I
fortunate.
wanted to find out, I was asking this because you talked about bait. I'm thinking, I don't know if you can learn from this call or not. It's a toad. If you would put a toad on a hook, is that good bait to catch a big bass or a lake trout or a walleye, something like that? Is that good bait? Is a toad a good bait fish?
Absolutely, because see, with the toad, you're actually talking about a water frog and not a toad. A toad is a dry frog. A water frog is a wet frog, and he belongs in the water. But you could hook up a toad and catch a fish, absolutely. But the added attraction is the fact that two things. Number one, it's a natural bait for a bass or a walleye to be looking at. Lake trout, I don't think so, because most of your lake trout are going to be deep, deep, deep. But the second thing is that he would have a fabulous scent. And fish locate bait more often than we recognize by scent than they do sight. Interesting, huh?
Well, it is to me, yes. I just wondered, because I'm thinking that would be something that you could use to catch, okay, not lake trout, but if you wanted to catch a humongous type bass or you say walleye would hit on the toad?
It would in the spring and the fall when the walleye are shallow. Now, walleye will not remain shallow very long. Walleye is a deep water fish. But in the spring and in the fall, they will get a little bit shallow.
You couldn't catch a channel cat with a toad, could you?
Oh, absolutely.
You could?
Oh, yeah. Well, a channel cat, catfish, he's a bottom feeder. And you can catch him on a variety of baits. And the thing to keep in mind about catching a catfish is keep your bait close to the bottom, number one, or on the bottom, and make it smelly. Because, see, his whiskers, his barbels, they're not really whiskers, and they're not barbels either. They're barbels. And that's how he locates bait. That's how he locates his food, from the scent, and he detects that with his barbels.
already. I got my education today. So thanks, O'Neill.
You bet. Have a great weekend, my friend. I'll look forward to hearing from you next week, too. There we go. Okay. Oh, am I not behind? Oh, I'm not. I'm in good shape. 48 after the hour. 404-872-0750. 800-972-8255. And Craig is calling on O'Neill Outside. You're on the radio, Craig.
Good morning, O'Neill.
What do you say?
Well, I heard you talking earlier in the show, first hour. I think it was about walking around the deer plot.
Right.
And all, I hadn't heard that in about 35, 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
I had my Roscoe Reams. His name was John Willis Lupo. He was a man that lived off the land like that, and he's gone now. But I miss him. But I was a young fella, and I'd walk out there and even back then down in South Georgia, we'd pour a little yellow gold out there, and I'd walk out there and look at it every morning before I get my deer stand. And I said, man, I can't see nothing. And he said, well, I don't know what you're doing. And I told him, he said, boy, as long as you're walking through that deer plot, they know you there already.
That's right. They come up to the edge of the food plot and they smell you already.
Yeah, well, he told me to leave it alone about 3 days and go back and don't walk through the deer plot again. And you know what? It was a good success. And one other thing he taught me, and I'll let you go.
No, please.
I love it. He taught me we would go through the pine thicket way off. Like you said, if you didn't have to have a flashlight, he said you might as well stay in the bed.
Uh-huh.
But we would take pine needles and crunch them up and, rub them all over us, rub them on our feet, take our feet and, just break them, put them off on the ground and make it. And, man, it really worked.
Oh, absolutely.
Scent.
Absolutely, it does. And here's something else that you can do that's connected a little bit. If you got a lot of people they have a deer camp and everybody has to have a fire, okay?
Yep.
The last thing you do before you walk through the stand in the smoke of the fire. And
I saw you and wasn't about, but it was
Milton Crabout
one time on one of the shows, and he had some kind of smoke bottle like you use on honeybee nest.
Yeah, he had a smoker and he put pine needles in it, and it removes all the human scent out of your clothes. It really does.
Yeah, as good as I love them Bojangles biscuits, I try not to get me one. If I do, I change clothes.
I got to tell you, Gail doesn't care for it, but I don't buy. When I go to Bojangles now, I don't buy one biscuit.
Well,
I buy two.
Let me tell you, I won the prize package. 3 or 4 months ago, I guess. Best. I mean, that was wonderful. I even took pictures of it, sent it to my brother and all them. But I walked in up here in Tifton. I live in Tati, and old boy that runs it, he says, man, you must love them. I said, I do, but I said, guess what? I'm eating off of O'Neill and Bojangles. These two biscuits. Hey, enjoy the show, my friend.
Glad you took the time to call.
Been a good morning. See y'all next week.
You bet. Call more often. There you go. There you are. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. This is O'Neill with O'Neill Outside. Every Saturday morning, we don't talk politics or finance. We talk outdoors and the enjoyment of the outdoors alone, with your buddies, and more so with your family. You can make it worthwhile, and the talents and practices that you learn and apply when you're early in your life, when you're a youngster, those will last you your lifetime if you practice those things. And my next book is coming out when I finish it in the next maybe in the next couple of months. And I'm going to, when we get back from this break, I'm going to finish up the show with a tip about deer hunting that might be a surprise to you. And I have an example of it. So I know we're getting away from fishing and we're always talking about deer hunting in the last few weeks. Well, the deer season's coming up. And we won't talk about it, but I will say this. The number one thing that you can do with your property that will elevate your deer hunting success is to put in a food plot. This is O'Neill. More deer hunting when we get back. Let me finish my coffee. Okay, 57 after the hour. I've got a little kind of an ending show tip. It's going to be in my next book. I'll come out with it pretty soon. I want to coach you, if you will. It's tough, but I want to coach you, if I can, about, and I'll give an example about what to do after. All right, you're in a stand. The deer you've been hunting walks up. He walks into the edge of the stand or edge of the food plot. You've got your shot. You take it. He falls dead. What do you do next? All right, listen to me just for a minute and think about it. You don't have to do what I say, but think about it. Give you some options. Number one, relax for a minute. Take a look where the deer walked out. Experience that. Take pictures with your cell phone where he came out. Don't rush it. You know something? There might have been 2 bucks. The other buck could have been a bigger buck. Did you think that they know when they hear that sound, uh-oh, somebody just killed my buddy? No, they don't know that. So he might want to come over and investigate, and you might have a chance for 2. It happened to me. I killed a big deer in Alabama, and another deer walked out, and he didn't like the one that was dead on the ground, and he antler raked him. And I watched it. Okay, if that doesn't happen, get down out of the stand. Go over to the deer. Touch his eye. Is he dead? If he's dead, then unload your gun. Then you might text your buddies that might be on the hunt to let them know, I didn't just fall out of the stand and die. I just took a deer. If you'd like to come over, come on over. Georgia. But take your photos, dozens of your photos. You can edit them later. Clean up the deer. You'll be telling that story, what happened that day. You'll be telling it for decades. Stretch it out and make it work. This is O'Neill with O'Neill Outside. And if you're too busy to go fishing and hunting and take a kid along, you're too busy. I'll see you guys next week.
I once asked a mighty hunter, coming home from the field, how he came to possess such mighty hunting and fishing skill. He said, I'll tell you a secret, son. I learned everything I know from listening to O'Neill Outside on my radio. O'Neill, O'Neill, O'Neill Outside.